One of the purposes of studying the Srimad Bhagavatam regularly is to dissolve our subtle body, which is the cause of the perpetuation of the jiva in the material existence. The subtle body is like a television. Once you open the television, start it, and start watching it, you can be completely submerged in illusion. And you forget the world around. And you can lose even several hours watching the TV. Similarly, the subtle body subjects us to so many temporary illusions of glitter and glamour. We may become buried into it completely and forget our eternal identity. The reality is, the material world exists only for a short time for the jiva, like a play toy used by a child. For example, sometimes a child may be adamant to purchase a toy car or a toy aeroplane, which is emanating some colorful lights, making sounds also, isn't it? Looks very attractive. Buy it, within, you'll say, 2-3 days, it just breaks. After that, it is gone. It will be thrown to pieces here and there. Similarly, both the material existence and our material body, these are perishable commodities which only appear attractive for a short while. Deva sangitam apyante krimi vidbhasma sangitam. This is Narada talks about this material body. Even if it is the body of a demigod, it is said in the 10th canto, 10.10.10, that's the verse number, you can read this. Deva sangitam apyante krimi vidbhasma sangitam. It says that this body ultimately becomes krimi or vid or bhasma. He says that's the destination of this material body. So don't be infatuated by this material body. That's what he is saying. You are not the body, you are the spirit soul. From dust thou art born, from dust thou shalt return. Body is born from Panchamahabhut, it will go back to Panchamahabhut. You are different from it, aloof from it, seated within it, and that too only for a temporary period of time. So this is one thing, by repeatedly remembering this nature of the material world, which is temporary, we can become little detached from the bodily attractions. Another thing that can detach us from the bodily situation is the diseases, the old age, the death, and all kinds of problems this material body gives us. You ask any Prabhuji, any Mataji, they can tell you, everybody's body gives some trouble. Thanks to the troubles, because the troubles give us a clue that this body is miserable. We should not just perpetuate our existence in this world. Thirdly, as the devotee advances in spiritual life, devotee can realize that this body is controlled by Krishna. As Krishna says, Maya Adhyakshena Prakriti. Krishna is the center of universe. He is conducting everything. He is moving all the jivas according to their karma. Karmana deva netrena jantur dehopapattaye. It is said. According to our own karma, Lord is moving us in different bodies, putting us in different situations, giving us opportunities. He is the master. We are all revolving around him. Like you can see in this world, everything is conducted by him. So the more we realize this, we can realize our insignificance and Lord's greatness. And that is the time our vision will start manifesting. Oh, how wonderfully Krishna is orchestrating. Our Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Oh Keshava, Priya Jagata Vichitra. You say, how amazing world you have created. So then we start adoring the Lord in that third stage of detachment, you see. We'll begin appreciating it. And then the devotee gradually can start seeing that my gross body and subtle body are all simply superfluous. It's just like the dress. I am wearing the dress, but I have no connection to the dress. I am different from the dress. So one can see that. With that vision, one can start appreciating Krishna's involvement in our life. And we can see connection with Krishna in every small thing. For example, when Srila Prabhupada was a small boy, You all know very well, he conducted Rath Yatra in his house, isn't it? Inviting all the neighborhood children. Even the elders came and participated. It was the 9-day Rath Yatra. And Gaur Mohan Day's friends asked, Gaur Mohan, why you didn't invite us for this festival? He said, I never thought of a festival. I never thought my son will make it a big thing. He was telling. So Prabhupada was Abhay, small boy. But he put up a big festival. And he had such attachment to Krishna, even as a small kid at home. And later, you will see when Prabhupada went to preach in America, one day Malati Mataji, from an Indian store, she found one small toy of Jagannath. She didn't know who it was. She had no clue. She just picked up the toy and came and showed it to Prabhupada. As soon as she kept in front of Prabhupada, Prabhupada got up and bowed down, offering Sashtanga Pranam. Now, how did this toy come in the eyes of Malati Mataji? And why did she pick it up and take it to Prabhupada? These are not accidental, these are intentional. Because Jagannath was so pleased with Srila Prabhupada's preaching in America, he wanted to reciprocate with Prabhupada. Therefore, he came in the eyes of Malati Mataji, and in her heart, he induced her that you should pick me up and take me to the pure devotee, Prabhupada. So she took it and kept it in front of Prabhupada, and Prabhupada offered obeisances. And again, the Lord in the heart of Prabhupada inspired him that you celebrated a festival for me when you were a small boy. Why didn't you put up a bigger festival? So Prabhupada immediately must have thought how to put a big festival. Naturally, Prabhupada got the inspiration. Shyam Sundar Prabhu was carpenter. So he told Malati Mataji, your husband is a carpenter. Why don't you tell him to make a bigger one of this? And he told her to bring the other two also, Subhadra and Baladev also. So in this way, in San Francisco, the Rath Yatra got started, you will see. So we should be able to see the connection. Prabhupada as a small boy, eagerly and enthusiastically celebrated Rath Yatra. And when he grew up in age and then he went abroad for a preaching mission, Lord Jagannath wanted to enthuse and inspire him to put up a bigger festival so that he can get bigger number of devotees into ISKCON society. So in this way, the Lord's lilas, which are happening in the background, which common conditioned souls have no eyes to see, those devotees who withdraw from the gross and subtle coverings are not enamored by it, they'll be able to see the spiritual touch of the Lord in every walk of life, how the Lord is behaving with his pure devotee and how the pure devotee is behaving in relation to the Lord. So the more we see such connection, the more our heart becomes more intensified with devotion and more purified. The relationships with the Lord becomes more stronger and tighter and purer and sweeter. Then with that consciousness we can chant the holy name. Because the holy name has to be chanted in a mood that I am an eternal servant of Krishna. Krishna is my not only eternal master, he's a sweet master, worthy master. He's a master who's worthy of surrender. So Sripad Shankaracharya said the ultimate understanding is the difference between matter and spirit. And Madhvacharya said, no, that's not the ultimate understanding. The ultimate understanding is the difference between soul and super soul. So when you can understand the difference between soul and super soul, his mastership and our servitorship and the eternal sweet loving relation that exists between the two, and how we are aloof from the gross and subtle coverings of this matter, to that degree we rise in our consciousness above and can chant the holy name with full-blown consciousness, and that can purify our mind very swiftly. Harinam Prabhu ki. Let's offer our humble obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who are just like desert trees or a ocean of mercy, full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha ananta koti vaishnava vrinda ki Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki Namacharya Haridas Thakur ki